Good afternoon. Today I'm talking to Professor Sanjay Mishra. He is from Kansas University, and it's just outside Kansas City in a little town called Lawrence. And today we're going to talk about research. Sanjay is an esteemed researcher, and I would like to know, especially Sanjay, looking at the MBA where we have a lot of applied research, is there real value in typical MBA applied research projects?
So thank you, Christo, and thank you, NWU, for according me the honor and the opportunity to come talk to you. Absolutely. I think anytime research has to be looked at in a much broader sense so that it is about leading us to making database decisions. So define the process. So one of the things I tell my students when they do research classes, undergrads, grads, is that this is the only discipline where the real world follows the book. And in following that, the process is developed and the skills are developed in the students that hopefully when they are presented a problem in the real world, they can devise a way to get to a solution. So for example, if they are designing a car, should the color be red or blue? How do they come to that conclusion? So if they haven't done anything in research in classroom, they would not know. They would just pick, I think red is better. But it's very important that they think from what does the customer want and then pull it into their research. This is a life skill. It's not only about finishing your MBA project, but it is a life skill to understand how do you make decisions for problems that you don't have ready-made data.
That's a very good example you used. We once had a student designing a holiday home, and then we actually received a complimentary week to actually live at the seaside resort and look at the design he did in his MBA studies. However, we find that kind of research is very popular at business school conferences, real academic conferences, and publishing these type of research. It gets a bit difficult. Do you have any maybe a plan or help for us to turn this into some publications?
What the MBA students are doing is primarily descriptive research. And there are outlets for descriptive research where you say people who have white hair think like this. People who have brown hair think like this. People who have no hair don't think. You can have that research. Okay?
Yeah.
So you can do that research. But the other thing is, as you have the data, you can develop a front end which talks about theory, your expectations, basically your hypothesis. And as you develop your hypothesis, then all the work that the MBAs have done is in some ways pushing data into testing if this theory works or not. So for example, if you said people who come for quick holidays, short holidays, 2-day holidays, have a different need structure, taking your example of holiday home, or a seaside home or a beach rental, than people who come for 2 weeks. And what is the basis that this difference exists? The moment you build the front end of the theory, this is data, that's your publication.
Yeah, the value of that would of course then be also to teach the students how to publish. How else would they learn?
Yes.
What should you do to reach that quality of journal?
It all will start with the problem. The uniqueness and the interesting nature of the problem is very critical. Basically, the question, so the classical way you develop a paper is to say, here's all that we know about people living in houses, but we don't know when they go to vacations. And the vacation market is $5 trillion or $50 billion. That's why it's important to understand them. If you try to develop that kind of a sequence. And then you say, the research I'm doing will help us answer this question so that we can have a positive impact in the $50 billion market. Because even though this is creation of knowledge in business school, given that we are a professional school, the applied nature is very critical. Otherwise, color can be understood in the psychology school, and all credit to them and all power to them. But in the B school, managerial implication is very critical. So oftentimes, you start with the back and say, if I find this answer, how do I impact the decision making? And if you can make interesting observations, connections down there, then the middle will write for itself. And when the editor is looking at it, so for those journals, most of them have, the big journals have less than 10% acceptance rate. Reasonable journals will have 20% acceptance rate. They're looking for theory contribution, method contribution, and managerial contribution. So theory is creating new knowledge. And if I'm thinking in terms of faculty, the question I want to ask them, or students, the question I want to ask them is, who do you want teaching your class? Somebody whose ideas are being put in a book, or somebody who's not creating new knowledge? So it's absolutely essential for good teachers to be at the cutting edge of research, because then you can bring the newer stuff happening and you bring it from a first-hand experience rather than a borrowed experience. So it's like you are writing the book rather than you are teaching from somebody else's book. And for the faculty, it's very important to show the relevance of your research and where it sits in the current streams of research. If you answer those two questions right, and then you understand that, yes, it is very valuable, the editor will agree with it.
Sanjay, thanks, man. Thanks very much. We're so glad you're here eventually in South Africa.
Thank you so much to you, Christo, personally, and to NWU for giving me this opportunity.